The influence of the Native Americans on the Revolutionary War. Revolution.
Reaction.
Reform.
Native Americans had a large impact on the spark of the Revolutionary War through the 7-Year War. The 7-Year War, also known as the French and Indian War, was a major reason why the British started to crack down on the colonies due to their loss of funds during the 7-Year War, causing an uproar and eventually leading to a full-on revolt. Guerrilla warfare was often used by these natives.
Blood streams from the dead man and woman's chest injuries, whose head markings may be meant for scalping wounds.
James Claypool. The natives were fierce in battle, but the British had weapons that were far more superior. But if they were to work together, they would be a force to be reckoned with. Some of the Native Americans would join the British, and some would join the colonists. However, some would stay neutral.
The British Allies.
Joseph Brant believed that he would be able to keep his people's lands, adhered to Britain's long-standing alliance. He was a military leader for the Mohawk Indians, a native tribe in modern-day New York. The Royal Proclamation of 1763 attempted to halt colonial expansion west of the Appalachian Mountains. It is not known if the British planned on keeping their alliance if they were victorious. However, the British would disregard them in the end by signing the Treaty of Paris, which gave the land to the United States. The colonial allies.
Many New England Native Americans would join their colonial neighbors. However, the Second Continental Congress said this about the Native Americans' involvement in the war.
We desire you will hear and receive what we have now told you, and that you will open a good ear and listen to what we are now going to say. This is a family quarrel between us and Old England. You Indians are not concerned in it. We don't wish you to take up the hatchet against the king's troops. We desire you to remain at home and not join either side, but keep the hatchet buried deep. Many of the Native Americans still joined the war, for one side or another. However, some listened to the Americans' warnings and stayed neutral.
The Oneida Nation. A New York tribe known as the United States' First Allies.
Their chief, Shenandoah, convinced them to help the colonists. He was known as the white man's friend by his people. After the war, he made sure the Oneida got recognition for their sacrifices.
They traveled hundreds of miles to deliver corn to the Valley Forge, one of the colonists' greatest times of need. They also helped in key battles such as the Battle of Saratoga. Guerrilla warfare.
a vicious form of war that dates back thousands of years to China, where the great military leader Sun Tzu wrote of it in his legendary book, The Art of War.
Guerrilla tactics spared no one, including women and children. Scalping was a common practice among these natives. Scalping is the act of removing someone's scalp or a portion of someone's scalp. This was foreign to the Europeans and had quite a dangerous element of shock.
They also used a tactic of using terror against their enemies.
The colonists picked up on this form of war and started to apply it in the fighting. This greatly influenced the outcome of the war. These practices truly influenced how the war was fought and surely the outcome. Treatment of the Native Americans.
Death.
Exile. Americanization.
Many others attempted to remain neutral. In the Ohio Valley, the Shawnees and the Delawares worked to stay neutral. But hatred of Indians among the western settlers and hunters soon destroyed that peace. American militia killed White Eyes of Delaware in 1778 and slaughtered unarmed, converted Moravian Indians. The Ohio Indians allied themselves with the British after these attacks. The Native Americans' culture was mostly destroyed as punishment for helping the British, although we know that was not always the case.
In closing, we draw this conclusion. The Native Americans had a large impact on the Revolutionary War.
A special thanks to
Ms. Holcomb, who is extremely helpful in guiding our research as well as production. Our parents, who are very understanding and helpful with our random work meetings.
all of our sources who are mentioned in the bibliography, as well as Kay and George Ellis, who were so helpful with our research. Thank you for watching. We hope that you found it both entertaining and enlightening.